breaking rocks and serving. Oh yeah, I'm serving mine. All right, all right. That was for the ladies.
Well, good evening, everybody. Here we are at the Duncan Showroom with another episode. I think it's number 14 of Eugene Smith, travel stories, road stories, and some tunage, as I like to say. Throw a couple tunes in there along the way just to make sure it's an interesting evening. Sorry for being a little late, but Eugene and the doctor had to go to discuss some technical things over at the brew pub. And damn waitresses. No, but anyway, here we are. We're getting started. Not to worry. You're going to enjoy it either which way. It's a great little episode that we've been doing. 14. This is the 14th. 13 so far of being able to just get a little part of what Eugene Smith's all about. So, you've been doing this job for a long time.
Quite a number of years, John.
Yes. An elder, so to speak. As a matter of fact, isn't it next coming up soon? We're going to be doing a show, broadcasting a show to heritage, the people who were in the scene in Toronto back in the early days. Mm-hmm. Isn't there a show about that? You're going to be on that?
It's the Toronto Blues Society.
That's so cool.
And it's a radio show, but we're going to do it streaming at the same time, hopefully.
And that's all because you were back there at that time.
Yeah, I was. I was back there growing up as a teenager, and all the different people that were in Toronto at the time, the Toronto scene, all the different bands and everything that were happening.
That'll be an interesting episode. That's October 13th, I think.
Yeah, I have a friend who's going to be interviewing me, Bill Munson. He knows more about me than I know about myself.
That's their job.
That's their job. Yeah.
But anyway, it's a new episode, number 14. We'll leave that one to the number 16. But let's get on with 14. What do you got to do today for us? What stories are you going to spin?
Well, I thought Jimmy Cliff was always one of my favorites from Jamaica. So I thought I'd try a Jimmy Cliff tune here for you. Sitting here in limbo, well, I know it won't be long. Well, I'm sitting here in limbo, like a bird without a song. Well, they're putting up resistance, but I know my faith will lead me on. Well, I'm sitting here in limbo, waiting for the tide to roll. Well, I'm sitting here in limbo, got some time to call my own. Well, they're putting up resistance, but I know my faith will lead me on. Lead me on. I can't say where life will lead me. I know where I've been. I can't say what life will show me when I know what I've seen. Tried my end at love and friendship. That's all fast and gone. This little boy is moving on. Oh, no, no, no. Sitting here in limbo, and I know it won't be long. Well, I'm sitting here in limbo, like a bird without a song. Well, they're putting up resistance, but I know, oh, I know my faith will lead me on, yeah. Sitting in a limbo, sitting in a limbo, sitting in a limbo, 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 limbo. Sitting in a limbo, oh, sitting in a limbo. I don't know where life will lead me. Well, I know where I've been. I can't say what life will show me when I know what I've seen. Tried my end at love and friendship. Oh, now that's all fast and gone. This little boy is moving on, sitting here in limbo, waiting for the tide to roll. Well, I'm sitting here in limbo, got some time to call my own. Well, they're putting up resistance, but I know, oh, I know my faith will lead me on. Sitting in limbo, sitting in limbo, sitting in limbo, oh now, sitting in limbo, sitting in limbo, 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 yeah, sitting in limbo, yeah, sitting in limbo, sitting in limbo, 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 limbo.
Yeah. Hey, you got accolades from Victoria for that one. She said a good choice of song. She says it was very good to hear your voice again. And Victoria, I got the dinosaur today. Yeah, and I already knew where I was going to put it. As soon as I saw it, I went, all right. So I directly went to that. I'll have to change the bulb. Eugene broke it.
Hey!
Oh, sorry. But he made a wonderful pie to make up for it. Tastes real good, by the way. I know I was supposed to wait another half hour, but the first piece tasted great. Thanks, Eugene. Not only is he a great storyteller and a great musician, but he also makes wonderful apple pies. Oh,
Are you going to share it with anybody, John?
Maybe. You never know.
Because Tim says he doesn't like cake, but he likes pie.
Oh, does he? Yeah, that's too bad.
Good
choices. That's the choices people make, eh? So what story are we going to do with today? Where are we going to go?
Well, I was thinking about my life growing up in Toronto, and I was thinking about my dad, who's no longer with us, but when I was a kid, he used to take me to the racetrack. And he didn't actually take me to the racetrack. He took me outside the racetrack at a fence up on New Toronto Street, and they used to have these ponies racing around, so he put me on his shoulders and take me up there. And so when I got older, I thought, geez, I'd like to go to the races. So I used to go to the thoroughbreds, and I like going to I haven't been in a while, but I like going to the thoroughbreds. So the story I want to talk about is when people are betting at the racetrack. Have you ever been, John? Have you ever been to the racetrack? I don't know if you've been.
I've once or twice just to watch, but I avoided it because I have friends that are addicted.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's lots.
Somehow or other, once you slide in there, you're on every horse.
I know. So I'd go up to Greenwood, to Woodbine, and I had different ways of betting on the horses. Now, I'm the type of person, I like gambling, but I'm not addicted to it. I just like having fun, you know what I mean? So I'd go up there, and you'd watch the horses being walked around the paddock and everything else, and then later on the jockeys would come out and go down through the tunnel. So my way of betting was different. I had a different system, like you could go to the racetrack and find people with racing forms, and they'd have to know how much the horse weighed before if it ate anything, if it took a pee before the race. I mean, even the jockeys, they wanted to know if the jockeys ate anything or whatever. They had to know. They get right down to the finest details, that interested into it. So, anyways, my way was by numbers. I would just pick numbers. There's 8 races, so if there was 8 races and maybe 7 or 8 horses in each race or whatever, sometimes there'd be more, I would just pick numbers. I would do number 5, and I'd bet on number 5, I'd bet on number 3 or number 2 or whatever. But I always made sure that I put $5 or $10 on a long shot. I always bet the long shots. Because when they do come in, it's a good payoff. But anyways, I used to watch the horses, or I just look at the horses, the beauty. I just love the looks of the thoroughbreds. They were just such beautiful horses, and so I would look at them walking around the paddock and think, oh, just see this horse that looked like it had the energy, so I would bet it. Sometimes I would just bet the jockeys. All you have to do is take a look, and you would see which jockeys were making the most money for that season. So you'd bet the jockeys, and of course you're going to win. You might not win, but your chances of winning are pretty good. The top jockeys are winning the most money, so bringing in the leading horses. So anyways, I bet by the jockeys. And then sometimes I would bet by just listening to what other people said. And this one time I was at the races, and the jockeys are coming around on the horses. They're going through the tunnel onto the track. And one jockey says to the other jockey as they're walking through the tunnel, he says, "They never give me any winners here. I never get any winners," he said. But he said it loud enough for me to hear it. So I went and I put some money on that horse. Bingo! It came in first. And then, and so one time I was sitting on a bench at the track, and I was looking at the racing form. Now, the other thing, too, about the races, you don't have to bet every race. You know what I mean? You can one of my things is I like to let one of the races go by. I'll mark down the horses I think that might win in that race, but I won't bet any money on it. That's the thing I do. I let one race go by. So anyways, one day I was sitting on the bench at the track and looking at the racing form, and there's a bunch of young kids that come down to the racetrack, and they're not allowed to bet because they're not of legal age, so they get the adults to bet for them. It's almost like when we were teenagers, we get the 21 years old or over to get us a bottle of whiskey or something from the liquor store. But anyways, so I'm sitting there by myself. The leader of the there's about 6, I think, 5 or 6 of them. There were 2 girls and 3 boys, I believe, in this little gang of kids. And so they asked me, the leader came up and asked me if they could sit on the bench. And I said, yeah, sure, go ahead. And they had the racing forms and everything else. And so they're sitting there going through it, talking about which horse, this horse and that horse. And as they were doing that, these 3 guys walked by, older guys walked by, and they started making fun of these kids sitting on the bench beside me looking at the racing forms. And they started making fun of them, and they go, "You kids, you don't know what you're doing. Do you really know what you're doing? And all this stuff. And aren't you a little bit young to be at the track?" And so the leader of the kids said, he says, "You just leave us alone. We know what we're doing. You just go ahead and leave us alone." So they did. They left. So I'm sitting there, and I decided I looked over at them, and I said to the leader, I said, "So tell me, who has a chance of winning the next race?" And it was the 6th, race number 6. And he looked at me, and he looked over at his buddies and his friends, and he says, "Should we tell him?" And they all shook their heads yes, because I guess I was cool to them or whatever. And so anyways, he said, "Okay." He said, "You see this number 2 horse in this next race?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "We're going to wait until 3 minutes before post time, And he says, Daryl Wells, I think was his name, the announcer, he comes on the loudspeaker, and if he says this horse is wearing number 2 shoes, then we'll bet it, because it'll win. I went, you got to be kidding me. He says, no. And he says, so I waited. Sure enough, 3 minutes before post time, Daryl Wells comes over the intercom. Ladies and gentlemen, the number 6 horse, owned by Rod Sterling's farm, will be wearing number 2 shoes today. So I said, okay. So I put a bet on for them, and I put on a bet for myself, and that horse came in and paid big money. And so what my whole system of it at the racetrack is just to have fun, listen to what people say, look at the horses, bet the jockeys every once in a while, let a race go by. And if you can enjoy yourself that way, then you're not going to get hooked, and you don't go every day. I mean, there are people at the racetrack that make a living there. And, I mean, with off-track betting now, I remember seeing this one guy. He had a stack of racing forms. He was sitting at a table by himself, and he was betting on races that were going on in the United States, over in England, wherever there was horse races. They're on the TV, right? So it all depends on. There are people that are addicted to it, and they lose a lot. But that's with anything, cards in Vegas, lots of people are addicted to that sort of thing. Dice, whatever. Craps, you name it. But anyways, that's my story about being at the racetrack, and I haven't been in a while. I like to go still. A bunch of us will go to Woodbine and rent a table. It costs, I think, $36 each, and it's a buffet and all the food you can eat. You don't even have to leave the room, and the finish line is right there at the window, so you get to see the horses cross the finish line. And they have a big buffet, and you can bet right in the room. They got placed wickets where you can just bet right there. You don't even have to go outside. So,
I love this. Eugene Smith's Guide to Horse Racing and Betting in downtown Toronto. Boy. But then again, I know that you guys ever since you've been around here, I've always heard of this little gang of guys that get together with Canadian Tire money. What's that all about?
Well, we play with... Well, I used to like to play poker for real money, and then what happened was the people that I played with in Toronto, they just got stupid with the betting, and so I stopped playing. I stopped going to the games, and then, I don't know, 6 months, almost a year went by, and I hadn't played any poker, and I started thinking, well, how can I play poker again and have some fun, and nobody gets hurt, and and then I thought about Canadian Tire money, so for the last 30 years now, I've had people playing poker with Canadian Tire money, and we just have a fantastic time. Nobody gets hurt, and you can spend that money if you want. Canadian
Cash in, so to speak.
Yeah, you can spend it if you want, but the people I play with, they save it up, and
so they can play the next week.
So they can play the next time we play. I play with Jim Clough and Bill Levity and Lloyd. And who else is on there? Paul Rozelle is another one. We and John Ron Canty here in the Valley. We play.
Brent Hutchison every so often. I've heard him showing up.
And Brent Hutchison every once in a while.
I think it's just the camaraderie of getting together and being able to, kibitz and just test each other's mind and just have some fun with it.
Yeah, it's funny, John, that you mentioned the Canadian Tire money, because even though it's Canadian Tire money, the same feelings come out. Like, you know what I mean?
When you lose it all? When you lose the pot, you lose it?
Yeah. It's the same feeling is there. You want to win, so even if it was real money, the real dineros, it's really funny that way. The real feelings come out. People get really upset if they lose. Or, like, I've gone for weeks on end and not won anything, and then I win big time. Like $7
In Canadian Tire money.
in Canadian Tire money. Or if you lose $9 in Canadian Tire money, that's a big loss for the night. You know what I mean? But it's still a lot of fun. But since COVID, we haven't been able to play. So, but
you have been able to do some singing now. What's your next song for tonight?
Tonight is going to be a tune that I always remember doing this song years ago. Let's see if I can remember it while I clear my throat. Let me clear my throat. It goes something like this. I gave my love a cherry that had no stone. I gave my love a chicken that had no bone. I gave my love a ring that had no end. Oh, and I gave my love a baby with no crying. How can there be a cherry that has no stone? How can there be a chicken, with no bone? How can there be a ring, that has no end? Oh, and how can there be a baby with no crying? A cherry when it's blooming, there is no stone. A chicken when it's pippin' has no bone. A ring when it's rolling, there is no end. Oh, and a baby when it's sleeping, there's no crying. Oh, and a baby when it's sleeping, there's no crying.
Yeah, thank you for that one.
Always.
By the way, Stacy says hello. She said to say thank you very much for your comforting laugh and your approach to life. It just makes her feel comfortable.
Fantastic. That's good. That's
and
good.
Victoria, get back to those games. She's waiting for a Canadian Tire lawnmower. You quit taking your time, buddy.
Quit taking my time. Yeah. Well,
win those dollars. Win those dollars.
Win those dollars. So so that's nice. Thank you very much, folks. And it's another number 14. You said, John.
Yes, number 14.
Oh, fantastic! Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you all next week. And John, get a plate. I want a piece of that pie.
What? I have to share it with you. By the way, Bill Levity, when's he coming back?
Bill's supposed to be coming back in a couple of weeks, I believe.
He's up in the Yukon.
Yeah, Whitehorse there.
Whitehorse, having some fun. Working, as he says, working. He's
working on his
to
brother's
the bone.
place, yeah.
But it's a wonderful community up there, especially about now. I guess the leaves are all changing, and they're just getting ready for that first snowfall. Oh, let's not talk like that.
Oh, listen, we've had a stellar day today.
I know, we've had a great... Well, we did have some cold weather. I actually had to put socks on with my sandals the other day.
Oh, my goodness.
It was getting chilly. We were all wearing jackets. And but then the sun
sandals.
came back. You know, the price to pay in La La Land. Sometimes you got to give up a couple of days of bad weather, right? And I heard that smoke fog is coming back up from California because of the way the winds are going. So we're going to be catching that again. And for those back east, you have all your neat, interesting situations that go on that take over your life, you know, in the weathers and everything like that.
Oh, yeah.
And you all think that we have a glorious time out here, but, you know, it really sometimes... Okay, we do.
What was it?
But we adapt really easy.
What was it you said, Tim? It was 100 and what in California?
105.
105.
105 in L.A. today.
So...
Sitting out front of the showroom this afternoon, it was almost time to come inside because it was just a little bit too hot after 15 minutes.
Yeah. I wore a long sleeve shirt, actually. No coat.
Have you noticed, it went down to 15 the other day, and everyone's getting all bundled up, whereas when it gets up to 12 in February, we're all wearing T-shirts.
Yeah, I know. Okay, everybody. Good night and thank
Good
you
night.
very
Thank you
much.
very much for tuning in.
Okay, bye.
Next week
everybody.
for number 15.
Number 15. Okay. How sweet it is to be loved by you. How sweet it is to be loved by you. How sweet it is to be loved by you. How sweet it is to be loved by you. Needed a shelter of someone's arms. There you were. I needed someone to understand my ups and downs. Now, there you were. With bits of love and devotion, deeply touching my emotion. Gonna stop. Thank you, baby. Said I'm gonna stop. All right. Thank you, baby. Come on now, people. Here we go now. How sweet it is to be loved by you. All right. How sweet it is to be loved by you. Close my eyes at night, wondering where I'd be without you in my life. Everything I did was just a bore. Everywhere I went, I've been there before. But you got enough for me and on my way. Enough to last me all my days. Gonna stop. Thank you, baby. Said I'm gonna stop. All right, thank you, baby. Here now, come on. How sweet it is to be loved by you. Sing a song, children, now. Come on now. How sweet it is to be loved by you. Yeah. How sweet it is to be loved by you. Close my eyes at night, wondering where I'd be without you in my life. Everything I did was just a bore. Everywhere I went, I've been the before. But you got enough for me and all my ways. Enough to last me all my days. Gonna stop. Thank you, baby. Said I'm gonna stop. And thank you, baby. Come on, gal, yeah. How sweet it is to be loved by you. Oh, you got it now. Come on. How sweet it is to be loved by you. A candy to the baby. How sweet it is to be loved by you. How sweet it is to be loved by you. 1, 2, 3. How sweet it is